Welcome to Sinkowitz, hosted by the fearless Linda Sinkowitz. She's syncing you up with the latest in election integrity, from breaking headlines to critical updates you won't hear anywhere else. With Linda, it's facts first as she leads the fight for one vote for one legal voter. Stay informed, stay empowered. Let's jump in.
Hi, and welcome to Sinkowitz. I'm Linda Sinkowitz. I'm the founder and CEO of Fight Voter Fraud. I want to thank everyone who is watching us on Rumble, YouTube, OBBM Network TV, Spotify, all of you. Thank you so much for watching. And don't forget to like and share or comment on our program. All right, so this week we are going without a guest. It was a last minute cancellation, so we are just going to continue with the program. We're going to be talking about 5 states. Those states are Georgia, Kansas, Ohio, Oregon, Texas. We'll go to our election terms, our election trivia, our national news, vote notes, international, and as always, at the end, you have my final thoughts that are unscripted. Okay, since we do not have our guest this week, I wanted to tell you about our new series that we just launched. It's called Sinkowitz Presents Candidate Spotlight. And we are offering 20-minute interviews to any candidate that wants to have an interview. And then we'll edit it so they can actually get it out there to their constituents. This is our way of helping everyone understand who their candidates are. Doesn't matter what party, everyone is welcome on our new show. And all you need to do is send an email to Linda, Linda, at fightvoterfraud.org. Send me an email and I will get you the information. Then Tim will help with the scheduling and we'll be good to go from there. We want to thank all the candidates so far that have already had their 20-minute interviews. We really appreciate it. And this is for anyone, anywhere in the country. I don't care if you're running for dog catcher. Doesn't matter. If you want your voice out there, if you want your platform out there, send us an email. All right. So now we are going to go into our first state. Our first state this week is Georgia. All right. This is from Middle Georgia CEO, and this is from April 30th. Secretary Raffensperger unveils new voter data tool to enhance election transparency. Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger announced his office has unveiled an upgrade to Georgia's election data hub, allowing where did you learn to speak? Okay, allowing Georgians to view voter turnout by party affiliation. He says the transparency is the bedrock of public trust, said Secretary Raffensperger. Wait a minute, isn't this the state that the FBI had to go in? Never mind. I will continue. He said by providing more granular data on voting breakdowns, we're giving every Georgian a front row seat to a secure and accessible election process. This tool is another step in our commitment to keeping Georgia the gold standard for election administration. And then it has more of the normal stuff. But I mean, at least it's a step in the right direction, but they got a long way to go, not just a step. We got lots of walking to do in order to make their voter rolls and voting in Georgia secure. Standard. Yeah, the gold standard. As you can hear, Tim, my producer in the background, they're always taunting that they're the gold standard. Okay. And I've got some swampland to sell you. All right. So now we're going to go on to Kansas. This is from the Lawrence Times from April 29th, 2026. Douglas County Clerk's Office launches Voter Data Dashboard blog. The Douglas County Clerk's Office has launched an online voter data dashboard with demographics of active and inactive voters, party affiliation breakdowns, and more. The office is also launching a ballot box blog where staff members will regularly post updates about voting and elections according to a Wednesday news release from the county. The dashboard can be found at the link. You'd have to actually get online for this story. And you can subscribe to their ballot box blog. And these tools help us share timely, accurate information directly with the community. County Clerk Jamie Shrew said in the release. We want residents to have confidence in the election process and to easily access the data that informs how elections work in Douglas County. The dashboard currently shows 80,078 registered voters. 66,707 are active. They have an average age of 48.55 and a median age of 46, according to the data. The dashboard sections can be filtered to show voters from certain affiliations, precincts, districts, locations, and more. Each section also has more information about what the pieces of the charts are showing if you mouse over or click on a question mark icon. The dashboard is not yet optimized for viewing on mobile browsers, so don't do it on your cell phone. But it is visible on mobile devices. So I guess you can see it, but you really can't get all the information. You can't click or ask questions if you're using your phone. So use the computer. Find more information about Douglas County voting and elections on the county's website, which is dgcoks.gov/elections. That's pretty cool. They're going in the right direction. Oh, now we're going on to Ohio. They're the tissue box people of the week. So this is from WVXU/NPR network. That alone will tell you right there. It's so far leaning left. It's unbelievable. And this is from April 30th, 2026. Analysis, fact-checking Robert Sprague's TV ad on ballot drop boxes. They've got the video. You have to see the video. He's brilliant. It's excellent, which obviously makes the left need tissues. Wow. So they're saying it happens way too often in politics. A candidate creates a problem that doesn't really exist and proceeds to spend campaign dollars knocking down straw men. We're talking about drop boxes. It's not a problem that doesn't exist. We live in Connecticut. We had Wanda, the ballot stuffer, seen around the world. So ballot boxes are a huge problem. Okay, so this is what Robert Sprague, one of two Republican candidates vying to be Ohio's next Secretary of State. This is excellent. This is someone who would be in the position to make the changes that need to be made, is doing with a deliberately cartoonish TV ad where he compares ballot drop boxes to garbage cans. Love it. Love it. Saying the boxes are meant to encourage election fraud. Don't let Democrats trash your vote, says Sprague, who is trying to win the May 5th GOP primary. The 30-second TV ad features Sprague, who is now state treasurer, strolling down a tree-lined street in a pleasant-looking neighborhood when he comes upon a simulated ballot drop box. Seen one of these in your neighborhood, Sprague says, or asks? Well, no, you haven't unless you happen to live at the County Board of Elections in Ohio. Well, then a weird, Muppet-like creature pops its head out of the fake ballot box. Think Oscar the Grouch in the garbage can, but the Grover's coloring and Mr. Snuffleupagus snout. The fuzzy creature introduces himself as Lefty the Cheat. Lefty gives his testimonial to drop boxes. I'm telling you, you have to watch this. You have to go online, click on the link, and watch this. I love him, Robert. Lefty says, they make elections messy. Sprague said that if he becomes Ohio's chief election officer, he will support President Trump. I'll ditch the drop boxes. And Sprague says he will verify American citizenship for people registering to vote. So only legal votes count, says Lefty, somewhat alarmed. Then Sprague rather rudely slams the door on Lefty's ballot box. Sprague's campaign did not respond to a request for an interview with the candidate. Bryant Hamley, a Cincinnati oncologist who is a Democrat candidate for Ohio Secretary of State, had plenty to say about Sprague's ad, saying it was meant to, quote, frighten Ohio voters, unquote. You should be frightened over having a ballot box in your county, in your district. Ballot boxes are the easiest way to cheat. So, like I said, you've got to go to, can't believe it. I'm actually going to send people to NPR. Yeah, go to NPR Network and you can see it. It's called Analysis Fact Checking Robert Sprague's TV ad on ballot drop boxes. Telling you, it's excellent. Ingenious. Honestly, it was very ingenious. And the coloring sort of made it look like the Sesame Street. It was great. Yeah. Okay, so now we are going on to Oregon. That's actually how I was told by someone from Oregon. You're not supposed to say Oregon, it's supposed to be Oregon. Okay, this is from Judicial Watch on April 29th, 2026. Judicial Watch, a lawsuit settlement causes review and removal of 800,000. Did you get that? 800,000 ineligible voters from Oregon's voter rolls. This out of Washington, D.C., a Judicial Watch announced a settlement in its federal lawsuit against Oregon election officials, which confirms 800,000 ineligible voter names are slated for review and removal from voter registration lists. The settlement requires state officials to produce detailed data and enforce federal voter roll cleanup procedures under the National Voter Registration Act of 1993. That's the NVRA. Judicial Watch filed this lawsuit in October of 2024, alleging Oregon failed to remove ineligible voters and seeking to enforce Section 8 of the NVRA. After identifying widespread voter roll maintenance failures across dozens of counties, you can look at the lawsuit, which is Judicial Watch et al. Versus the state of Oregon et al. Number 6:24-CV-01783. In its complaint, Judicial Watch argued that Oregon's voter rolls contained large numbers of old and inactive registrations, and that 29 of Oregon's 36 counties removed few or no registrations as required by federal election law. The story kind of goes on from there. What you should do is go to Judicial Watch's website and read up on that particular suit. So, yay. They're doing a fantastic job at Judicial Watch. Now we're going to go to Texas. That's that big state, Texas. So this is from the Texas Tribune from April 30th, 2026. Christian Menefee's district sat vacant for 11 months. His first bill in Congress would set a deadline for special elections. The Houston Democrat was elected earlier this year to finish out the term of Representative Sylvester Turner, who died in March of 2025. The safely blue district was left vacant for 334 days. This out of Washington, Representative Christian Menefee, he's the Democrat who won from Houston, will introduce his first bill as a member of Congress on Thursday, proposing a nationwide cap on how long congressional seats can remain vacant. The Special Election Timeless Act, or SET Act, would require states to hold special elections for House vacancies within 180 days of the seat coming open. So, as you know, 180 days, that's 6 months. Okay. The proposal is highly symbolic for McAfee, who was sworn in to represent Texas' 18th congressional district in February. Again, it was 334 days after the death of his predecessor, former Representative Sylvester Turner. The newly year-long vacancy was a source of frustration to constituents and Texas Democrats who accused Governor Greg Abbott of intentionally holding the safely blue seat open. Now, the story goes on from there. Actually, not a little longer, it's a lot longer. So the gist of it is that when somebody in Congress, their seat has been vacated, whether they're resigning or being thrown in jail, we can only hope, or if they passed away, that there should be a time limit in when that seat needs to be filled. Now, I know this is going to be hard for some people to hear, but I actually agree with the Democrat. 180 days, 6 months, yeah, I agree with that. I mean, it doesn't matter what party you're from. The seats actually need to be filled. We don't need to hold them back, because of one party or another. So it does say in the article that there are some Republicans who are actually considering it. My husband and I actually had a conversation about this, and he agreed too. There should be something shorter, or there should be something in place. And I think the 180 days is a good step forward for the special election. If it's within 180 days of having a regular election, they would have it at that time. So they covered that part. So there's actually a Democrat, the right idea. And he just got elected to Congress. Did I say that? Tim, how are you feeling? Okay. I can say positive things once in a while about Democrats. It's few and far between, but if something makes sense, all of us should be able to say, yeah, that makes sense. Okay. All right. So we're going on to election term of the week. This is from Generation Nation, and I confirmed it on May 3rd, 2026. The word, not that anybody has heard this one lately, gerrymandering. The drawing up of voting districts in unusual shapes in order to benefit a certain group. That is the definition of gerrymandering. Okay, now we're going to go on to our election trivia. This is from mywoodcounty.com on May 3rd. Who is credited with creating both the Republican and the Democratic symbols, the elephant and the donkey, respectively, when he lampooned the political parties in a cartoon in Harper's Weekly magazine in 1874? Soon people everywhere began using those symbols to represent the parties. We're going to go to a quick break, and we'll be right back.
At Fight Voter Fraud, we work to ensure every legal vote is counted, and no unlawful vote ever diminishes the voice of we the people. We're fighting for you, in courtrooms and communities nationwide, to protect transparency, accountability, and fairness in every election. Our mission is simple: one vote for one legal voter. This is our country. This is our vote. Let's protect it together.
Hi, I'm Linda Sinkowitz. I'm the founder and CEO of Fight Voter Fraud. I'm very excited to announce Operation Verify Voters 2026. This is where everyone can get involved. Every single person can get involved in helping make sure we have transparent and clean elections. The most important thing is cleaning the voter rolls. Who knows better than you on your street? You know when people have sold their homes. You know when people moved. You know when other people have passed away. Those are people we need to make sure are no longer on the voter rolls. And it's really easy to do. We can help you. What we're going to be doing is setting up training sessions, which you sign up for, and we will walk you through the process. It's simple, it's easy, and everyone can get involved. So you're going to go to fightvoterfraud.org or scan the QR code, and it'll bring you right to our Operation Verify Voters 2026. And our goal is to get every single state involved in this initiative. Everyone can make a difference. Thank you. Hi, and welcome back to Sinkowitz. I'm Linda Sinkowitz. I'm the founder and CEO of Fight Voter Fraud. Before we went to break, we had our trivia question, and it was from mywoodcounty.com on May 3rd, 2026. Who is credited with creating both the Republican and the Democratic symbols, the elephant and the donkey, respectively, when he lampooned the political parties in a cartoon in Harper's Weekly magazine in 1874? Soon people everywhere began using those symbols to represent the parties. The answer is cartoonist Thomas Nash. I know a number of you got that right. Okay, we're going on to national news. National news, this is from the NCLS. It's the National Conference of State Legislators on April 30th, 2026. Every state has now enacted a post-election audit law. Once rare, the audits help to ensure that elections or particular elements of the elections have been conducted properly. All 50 states now have post-election audits to check the equipment and processes used to count votes worked as intended. Once an obscure element of the election cycle, post-election audits have gotten more attention in recent years, and the states have steadily adopted legislation requiring them. The Election Assistance Commission reports that in 2008, fewer than half the states had laws requiring post-election audits of ballot tabulation equipment. With Alabama Governor Ivey signing her state's law on April 13th, every state now has a post-election audit process in law. The reasons for adopting post-election audits vary, but the overall intent is the same in every state: to provide a check that ensures an election or a particular element of the election has been conducted properly. So the story kind of goes on from there. I mean, it's nice to know that all the states have it, but doesn't necessarily mean that the audits are conducted properly. I know here in Connecticut, we've had a number of machines during primaries that got too hot and weren't functioning, and they should have been checked ahead of time. I mean, it could be old equipment, but I'm glad that all the states actually have a law to check. So now we're going to go on to our vote notes. And as all of you know, vote notes is a longer story that you'll be able to click the link on our website or on the email that you received, and you can read the entire story. This is from the Gateway Pundit from April 29th, 2026. Pennsylvania Supreme Court ruling: election cast vote records, those are called the CVRs, must be made public. Verify vote and plaintiffs win. In 2021, Heather Honey from Verify Vote, and some of you may recognize that name, Heather Honey. She's with the Department of Homeland Security, and she's head of elections for the federal government. So this was her back in 2021. She asked Lycoming County, PA, for their 2020 election cast vote records. She was denied. Over 5 years, they have battled with the county Office of Open Records and 3 different court jurisdictions. Yesterday, the Pennsylvania Supreme Court ruled that CVR files must be made publicly available. The CVR file is essentially a receipt of everything from the tabulator machine scanned. The full opinion you can also find on Vote Notes. To just do a short recap, it says each election ballot is fed into a tabulator machine, which counts the voter's intent by scanning. Election jurisdictions have several tabulators at counting locations. Each tabulator keeps an internal record of how many ballots it processed and other key data. This includes timestamps, precinct info, and other data like the number of bubbles it counted for the president, Dem, president, Rep, Republican, Senate 1, Dem, Senate 1, Rep, Senate 2, Dem, and so on. The CVR record serves a similar purpose to cash register closeout slips used by the stores. Typically, data from the tabulators flows to the county's EMS server, which is in Pennsylvania, it is the election management system. From there, it goes to the state system, and then it goes on from there. So anyway, a win in Pennsylvania's Supreme Court for more transparency in elections. And isn't it crazy? It took 5 years. 5 years. That's 5. 5 years. 3 different jurisdictions. I mean, the courts play around with so much stuff, and especially in Pennsylvania. They got lots of problems down there. Greg Stenstrom has a number of suits that he's been working on, and I actually got to hear him speak in front of the Pennsylvania Supreme Court. I think it was about a year and a half ago. It was amazing, absolutely amazing. Okay, so now we're going to go on to international news. There's always something going on around the world for elections, and this one that I chose this week is on Brazil. All right. It is from the AS/COA from April 15th, 2026. It's a poll tracker for Brazil's 2026 presidential election. Lula, wow, that kind of rolls off your tongue. Lula is seeking a 4th term as Flavio Bolsonaro's attempts to avenge his ex-president father. The first round is October 4th. A rematch of sorts is brewing for Brazil's 2026 presidential race. Incumbent leftist president Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva. Now, he was from 2003 to 2011, and then he must have lost because he wasn't president. And then in 2023 to the present, he's in office of the Working Party's PT. It says Working Party's PT. They get different abbreviations for different parties, is running for an unprecedented 4th term at the age of 80. 80. His foe in the last election, ex-president Jair Bolsonaro, who was president from 2019 to 2023, is ineligible to run after being indicted and imprisoned in September for plotting a coup. I guess that would be one reason why you couldn't be running again. But the Bolsonaro name will still be on the ballot. After speculation about who would carry the flag of Jair Bolsonaro's far-right movement, the ex-president endorsed his son, Senator Flavio Bolsonaro. Okay, so the name is still on there, as candidate for Liberal Party. They call that PL. The two are polling neck and neck. In America's Quarterly, Brian Winter writes the, quote, election now looks like a coin flip, unquote. They're not the only candidates in the field. Other contenders include 2 right-wing leaders, ex-governor of Minas Gerais, Romeu Zema of the NOVO party, and ex-governor, why do they say ex-governor? Instead of saying former, it's always ex. You notice that? Did you notice that, Tim? Yeah. Of Goiás, Ronaldo Caiado of the center-right Social Democratic Party, the PSD. In late March, Caiado became the nominee of the PSD, which is led by power broker Gilberto Kassab, after 2 other governors stepped out of the race. With months until the October 4th first round, how are Brazil's 156 million voters viewing the contest? In Brazil's 26 elections, President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva is running for a 4th term at 80 years old. He faces off against Flavio Bolsonaro, who is backed by his jailed father, ex-president Jair Bolsonaro. 2 ex-governors, Romeu Zema and Ronaldo Caiado, fight to be an alternative for the conservative opposition. The first round will be October 4th, with a runoff is scheduled for October 25th. I don't know what this runoff stuff is. I didn't get a chance to really dig deeper into how elections are actually run in Brazil. But obviously, October 4th is a very important day. They must narrow the field with that. And I guess people come back and vote again on the 25th. We'll see. So that is what is going on internationally, around the world, nationally, our state stuff that we talk about. And we have now come to my final thoughts. Unscripted. I never know what I'm going to talk about. This week has been very busy. We have actually been taping a number of candidate segments for our new series called Sinkowitz Presents Candidate Spotlight. It has been very interesting. I see Tim over here shaking his head. Yes, yes. We really didn't know what we were up against in pulling this together. We just knew we wanted to do something for candidates who may or may not have financial means to have a small segment done on them. And we thought doing an interview would be a great way to introduce them to their constituents. And we are very happy to say it's coming along, right, Tim? We got people from all over the country. And I thought I knew a lot about elections and the way things work, but I'll tell you, I'm learning more. Wait till you see the segment on Scott Peterson in Nebraska, who is running for Secretary of State in Nebraska. I thought it was unusual that he, as a Republican, was running against a Republican who is already in office and has already served 2 terms. But I'll tell you, anybody from Nebraska, vote and vote for Scott Peterson. Amazing man. You'll be able to see his segment on our program. We will be sending that out to you shortly. But like I said, we've learned a lot. We've seen a lot of things that are going on. You have got so many people that are patriots, that are stepping up to the plate. We've already interviewed a number of people who've never run for office, right, Tim? Yeah, they've never run for office before. They don't know pretty much how to really go about doing a number of different things. And again, we are there to help them. Anybody. People are saying, what do you mean anybody? And I said, I mean anybody. It doesn't matter what party you're from. We don't care. If you were someone who was stepping up, let's see what you got. Okay. And let the people decide who should be in that particular position. And especially the ones that are the new ones coming up. You really haven't been jaded yet. You haven't been corrupted by the system yet. And the innocence and the wanting to do great things is so wonderful to see in these candidates who are just so excited, that have no idea the real issues behind our voting that have been going on. But they know they want to have that particular office and they can do a great job. Just like myself, was it 2016, 2014, when I first ran for state rep here in Connecticut? Bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, had no idea what the corruption was like. And we've seen it. We've seen it everywhere, but things are changing now. We can see it across the country. The big thing you have to ask yourself is, when you are asked if you are a U.S. citizen and you are signing that you are a U.S. citizen, and we want the Save America Act, which says you have to be a U.S. citizen to vote. Why is there such a problem for the Democrats down in the swamp in D.C. that they can't say, oh, yeah, that's a great idea. That needs to be done. They're not. So think about this. When you're voting, do you really want a group of people who do not care about you, who don't care about U.S. citizenship? They don't care about our country. And that's basically what they are saying. They care more about the illegals, the murderers, the rapists, the drug dealers, the pedophiles, all these people that have come across our borders, all the crime that has spiked. They want to protect them. They want to keep them here. And we see it every single day with the states, the governors going against helping ICE, who are just doing their jobs that Congress had lawfully. We have laws. They're following the law. They're doing their job to protect the United States. So do you want people in office who do not care about your safety, about your children's safety, who want to confuse our children and say, well, how many different sexes are there? There's two, okay? In case you're not aware, it's male and female. Two, not whatever they're fabricating out there or whatever you feel like you want to be called and treated as on that particular day. I'm sorry, you need to get some help, okay? You really need some help. And add in the Trump derangement syndrome that has gone basically nuclear. You look at what's going on across the country. We have a president who puts our country first, who puts Americans first, and who, by the way, donates his salary to charity. Trump has not taken a dime in payment. He's actually lost, I saw something recently, a few $billion since he became president from all the stuff that he built. And he's building the beautiful White House ballroom that we've needed for decades, And they're against that. They're trying to stop that. Why? It's not their money. It's building something beautiful for our country. He cleaned up DC. I had to tell you, last year when I first went down to DC, you had graffiti, you had people sleeping on the sidewalks, you had garbage everywhere. And as I kept going down and they had put out, the National Guard and you had Secret Service and all the other agents that were out there, they've cleaned it up. It is beautiful. It's an icon for the world to see. And then most recently was at the reflecting pool. I forgot how many millions and millions and millions of dollars they were quoted to fix the reflecting pool. Well, Trump contacted some contractors that had done pool work within his construction stuff for a number of years. He knew the good ones that were out there. And the other one that was going to cost millions and millions and millions of dollars was going to take, I think, 3.5 years. Well, Trump is getting it done for a very few $1,000,000 in a few weeks. That alone is a great businessman. And the color that they are painting it in the reflecting pool is actually called American blue. That just happened to have been the name. Trump had seen another blue color when they said, well, this one here is called American blue. What does our commander-in-chief do? He chooses America again. And everything you listen to and everything the far left listens to, and believe me, they don't tell the truth on a lot of these stations that are out there. People have no clue as to what is going on in our country. They believe the pundits that lie, or there's stories that aren't even put out there. Major stories aren't even covered. So you've got the people that are drink the Kool-Aid, just, following in step. And you can tell someone who is a Democrat, a far left Democrat, if you see them on the street. I'm telling you, just by how they look. They're angry. They're very unhappy. Everything gets them upset. It's really a tragedy on what has been going on in our country. And you can help save our country. Think about who it is you're voting for in the elections, and you better make sure you vote. I'm telling you, if people out there are not voting and you're over 18, you're a U.S. citizen and you're eligible to vote in your county, district, or state, and you don't vote, you should just have tape put over your mouth. You're not allowed to say anything at all because we had so many people die in order to protect our country, in order for us to have the right to vote. We have a say and we have an opinion. And have already found out, yes, there's a problem with the machines. There's a problem with the software. Votes are being manipulated. This is not a pie in the sky. Oh, it's, conspiracy theory. It is fact. And anyone who doesn't know it's fact, you are not doing your research, or you are not watching the programs that are telling you the truth. One of the things, if you're on X, sign up and follow the Secretary of Transportation, the Secretary of Finance, follow the White House. Because I'm telling you, if you read that information, the most scrutinized information you will ever see, it's the truth. It's fact. Because every leftist is watching for one little word of what somebody says or what President Trump says. He's great. He's on Truth Social. He is all over the place with his statements. We should really be paying attention to that. And in your own state, you should be paying attention to the laws that are being passed. Are they helping you, or are they hurting you? Or are you just going along with a blind eye and complaining, oh, the gas prices are so high, it's terrible. Well, those of you who are complaining right now, do you realize our commander-in-chief has stopped a 47-year war, not only against the United States, but everyone around the world? They are terrorists. They don't care about human life. They don't even care about their own citizens. Anywhere between 30 and 40,000 citizens were killed in 36 hours by the REG, by the Iranians themselves, in their own country. And anybody who thinks that President Donald Trump doesn't have a plan, you must have lost some brain cells, honestly. It's like the reporters that ask him, well, what is your plan exactly? What time and date are you going to invade, or are you going to do this? What are you, stupid? Your enemy is watching these press conferences. Trump knows exactly what he's doing, and he's already 10 steps ahead of 90% of the people in the country. He knows what he's doing. He's protecting everyone. Yeah, sometimes he says some stuff that, makes the hair stand up on the back of your neck. But I think that's great, because we have a president who is somewhat unpredictable to the enemy. Confusion. Mind you, confusion. They don't know whether they're coming or going. And as far as the gas prices, we have so much gas, we could sell it to everybody in the world and still have excess oil. So why is it going up? It's because the oil is a world commodity. It's priced for the world, not for the United States, but for the world. So yeah, this morning I filled up my car, $58. Okay. Normally it's, under 40. And at first I was like, oh, I only put in half. And it's like, no, I just need to fill it up. This is a little bit of the pinch that all of us need to absorb, because the prices are going to plummet as soon as Iran is taken care of, which is no nuclear weapons. And that's non-negotiable. We should see it very shortly. And all of those who have been complaining, it has only been 2 months. 2 months, he has accomplished something that presidents for the last 47 years haven't been able to do. Okay? Just food for thought. Not that I have an opinion on anything, right, Tim? I never have an opinion on anything. Well, with that said, I want to thank everyone for watching Sinkowitz. I'm Linda Sinkowitz, again, the founder and CEO of Fight Voter Fraud. You can find us on Rumble, YouTube, OBBM Network TV, Spotify, and a whole bunch of other platforms. And keep an eye out for our new series, Sinkowitz Presents Candidate Spotlight. And if you have anybody that you would like to have us do a 20-minute interview, it's not an I gotcha or anything like that. It's all positive, no matter who comes on. It is all about the candidate. Just send me an email at linda@fightvoterfraud.org. Thank you again for watching, and we'll see you next time.